It's time!
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to LTID on YouTube. I think we all probably remember what we were doing on the 27th of October 2018. I was due to go to watch Leicester City play West Ham, and the reason slips my mind. For some reason, I didn't go. I think the guy I was going couldn't make it, and in a way, I was probably best to be here when I heard the news that I did, that our chairman had, although it wasn't confirmed straight away. I think deep down we all knew. It was live on BT, the game, and they announced it after coming back from a commercial break. One man's ambition, 5,000 to 1 outsiders, thousands of fans' dreams fulfilled. Football changed forever. He made our dream a reality and gave football fans everywhere, every club, hope to dream. We laughed at him a little bit when he said, I'm going to get this club into Europe within a couple of years. He wasn't half wrong, was he? He made some tough decisions along the way. It was an interesting ride. Pearson came and went. Sven-Goran Eriksson came and very quickly went. He's gone, but he will never be forgotten. As the saying and the banner showed there, he will forever be in our hearts. But I just want to also say, let's not forget there were other people in that helicopter, and it's very easy for us to grieve for LeiMci. But there's members of his staff, the pilot's girlfriend were on board, and you know what I am like for pronunciations of foreign names, so please bear with me, and I hope I do not do them any injustice here. But Kavporn Pumpari, Nusara Sukamana, there was the pilot Eric Swaffer and his Polish girlfriend Isabella Rosa Lekrovich. All of them passed away in that date. We remember LeiMci, but we mustn't forget the others as well. As I always said, he did not buy a football club. He bought in to a county. This is LTID TV. We're going to preview the Manchester City's game. good evening, and thank you for bearing with me.
Start with Chris. Add a dash of sport. Squeeze in some music. Then shake, don't stir. And you've got the ultimate blend. LTID Radio.
Indeed, we've got a new look. Hope you like it. Welcome along. Highfields Fox is in. Good evening, Highfields. Sorry for keeping you waiting there. Just something I like to do. It's Manchester City this weekend. Probably a game we could do without, really. We've just had 3 very good results. Palace, yes, we should have won. Let's be honest, but we got a point, which we may not have got a few weeks prior to that. We beat Leeds, we beat Wolves. Confidence is high. And then along come Manchester City. I don't wish the guy any harm, and I think he is a footballing genius, but I do hope Haaland isn't fit. And I mean that in the night. I don't wish him ill like I did for Fofana, who I obviously wish that he'd break his leg. I don't wish him that, but I do hope Haaland isn't well enough to play. Look, Craig's joining us as always, and we'll certainly get his thoughts on LeiMci as well. And Bernard Deneen, who is a big Manchester City fan. So he'll be joining us and giving his thoughts, and I'm sure the latest news about Haaland as well. But shall we have a look at some of that stats? We always start with the stats. Why should tonight be any different? Indeed. Thank you very much, True. Means a lot, that. Thank you. Means a lot. Manchester City, as you can see there, riding high in second, although they would like to think that they could be riding high top. 2 points behind Arsenal. Could that be this weekend? Arsenal have got a little matter of Nottingham Forest. And they shouldn't be taken for granted. Look at Liverpool. So that's not going to necessarily be easy for Arsenal. You would hope, no disrespect, Luke, that Arsenal will do it, but Manchester City, if they win, and if Arsenal only get a point at Forest, and Manchester City beat us, they will be top. It's a given, this game, if you like, because it's like I don't expect to get anything from here. I want to see a performance, of course I do, but will I be disappointed if we lose? No. Will I be blaming Brendan if we lose? No. It's, there's certain games you've got to say. It's like, we lost to Arsenal. We lost to Spurs. Spurs was a good performance, and I wasn't as hurt by that as I was the Arsenal one. Perhaps the Arsenal one just came a bit too early in the season. I don't know. But that's where the teams sit at the moment. Head-to-head, yeah, I think we better not look too much at this. We've won 7. Manchester, and 2 of those obviously were in the Premier League winning season. Manchester City have won 13, nearly double. There's been 2 draws, but we've only won 2 at home, whilst Manchester City have won 7 away. Oops. Here's the recent meetings between us. Manchester City last season, they beat us 1-0, and that was back in September, you may remember. And then, it was a close game. Not on the 26th of December. We always seem to get them, but now it's Liverpool we always get around Christmas, but then we always seem to get Manchester City. I do remember under Puel, I think we beat them actually at Boxing Day. It kept him in his job for a bit. But last Boxing Day, it was a ho-ho-ho and an empty sack for Leicester City. Our sack was emptied on Boxing Day. You go where you want to with that. I'm not. Going into it, though, I mean, the form guides look pretty good. We can say just about, Luke, I'm sorry about this, but we've just still got on there the 4-0 win over Nottingham Forest. And we thought, hello, we're here. And it didn't quite work out that way. We went on to lose 2-1 to Nottingham Forest. Out-thought, out-tacticked by a guy who'd never been a manager. And that was only, I think, his fourth top-flight game. We then drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace. A game, in fairness, I think we should have won. We should have won that. But we did go on and beat Leeds 2-0. And we did go on, obviously, and beat Wolves 4-0. The good thing looking at that, and I think you agree, you've got to accept that, okay, we lost to Bournemouth. But Bournemouth, in fairness, were up, I think, in about 10th or 9th at that particular point. We did not lose to any team that was kind of around us in the table. And I've said this before, you had Brighton last season, they were flying. And then they hit some bad form. And I think it was about March. They were actually bottom of the form table. And what they did was they beat the teams that were around them. That's what got them back up the table. Because it's like 6 points. I know we call them 6-pointers, but it is. And we've done well against teams that are down there scrapping with us. The Forest, Palace, Leeds and Wolves. So that is good to see. Excuse me. I mean, Manchester City, if we go back sort of 5 games, they could only put 3 past Wolves. I mean, Man City, come on. What are you playing at? 4. That's all right. Only got 3. I don't know. City then, I'm going to say hi to Bernard. He's in. We'll bring him in a second. I'll say Bernard beat Man United then. He would have loved that. Manchester City beat Manchester United 6-3. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a good result, but Man United are such a funny team this season that they'll go and win one, lose one, win one, lose one. I'm just waiting for Eric to shake it all about. They beat Southampton 4-0. Somehow they lost to Liverpool. I mean, I think they just sort of decided, let's give everybody else a chance. They lost to Liverpool 1-0, and then they went and got a good win against Brighton. But they have won 3 of their last 4. But do like I say, Bernard, 3 against Wolves, that's child's play. If you can't get 4 or more against Wolves, well, you might as well just sort of pack up and go home. He's going to get his own back, isn't he? This is where the goals are being scored. Same old for Leicester. 60 minutes plus, we are letting the goals in. That said, we haven't for a while. I think we are now, we are equal 3rd in the clean sheet department, as sponsored by Andrex, of course. So that's good. But you can see there, Manchester City, they'll just score when they want to, basically. They'll just down and go, it's our turn to score now, move over. And then there you can see the stats. Or you can when I do that, and how they compare. I mean, possession-wise, yeah, we've had 52-65. That obviously doesn't mean anything. Look at some of the games last week. Attacks, we've had 1,200. They've had 1,400 offsides. Matter shots on target, 50 to their 72. Off target, 114. And if you're not shooting either, or even if you're getting off target, then you're not going to score. We've had 83. Yellow cards, we've had a few more than they have. A lot more. And the average player rating for Leicester was 6.77. Theirs is 7.01. But I think you can say that is reflected in the positions in the table. Here we have the match stats. As you can just see there, on the matches, there's a lot more green on the side of Manchester City. On the left, on the bottom one, there's a lot more goals as well. All I'm going to say is, guys, if you're ready to watch this tomorrow, if you're not going down to the KP, it is on BT Sport. We will be doing a live watch-along. I really don't know how good the watch-along is going to be, because I'm actually going to be doing it from behind the sofa. So I might not be able to tell you how much is going on in the game itself. But look, He's here. Let's welcome him in, and thank you very much for coming. Bernard, big Manchester City fan, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chris. How are you?
I'm a bit nervous, I'm not going to lie.
I remember the last time I come on, all I did was try and build you up and make you less nervous. I remember that
Yeah,
from,
you
from the last go.
You went and beat us 6-3.
I did my best. I can only do my best. Listen, can I just myself and all Manchester City fans offer our condolences as well. I heard you speaking before about the sad anniversary. So just on behalf of myself and of course all football fans, just offer our condolences to you as well.
Really, really do appreciate that. And I think it's a shame, but sometimes it takes a disaster to make you realise that football, it's one big family.
Well, it's funny that you were saying about buying into the club as well, and I mean that's how we think about our owner. He's totally bought into the club and what it means, and it's just that sentiment is exactly the same.
Yes, yeah. No, I appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much for those. Much appreciated. Steve the Fox says his prediction is 1-0 the Foxes. Stop all this doom and gloom. I'll come back to you tomorrow on Saturday night, Steve. Let's get him in. The old wise owl is here. He's twitty-twooing in the green room. Let's bring him in. Craig, good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm not so bad. You've met Bernard before, haven't you?
I'm not sure we've met Bernard, have we?
We might have met through the ether and not known it.
Probably.
No, I think you did well. Craig, Bernard, Craig.
Yeah.
And
we have now anyway, so it doesn't matter, does it?
I'm going to apologise now because I'm absolutely useless with names, and I used to go to school with somebody called Carl Dineen. So if I call you Carl by accident, please.
Call me anything you want, mate. It doesn't bother me. I've been called worse.
Well, I do with Craig. I must admit.
That's true.
Not always to his face, though. Let me just say that. Thank you very much for coming in. You don't have to duck down now, Craig. We've got some new artwork. So
okay, cool.
You're not having to duck down like you used to before. You got my nerves after a while. I've got to be honest with you. Very quickly, I mean, Bernard just mentioned it. Then I did a little speech at the start. Sad day today. But we would not be where we are now and we wouldn't have had the joys that we've had if it wasn't for that one man.
That's true. And sometimes it's easy to forget, isn't it? Particularly with all the trials and tribulations that the club have been going through this season, that we forget where we were before he bought us. It is very easy to forget that kind of thing. So everything, all of our expectations that we have on our club now are because of what he built.
Indeed. And I've sat here and I've gone mad week, a couple of games you may have noticed.
You hit it well, Chris.
I try to. But in fairness, it does put it all into perspective. At the end of the day, it's a game of football. Of football. And Big Morgan, thank you so much as well. That means a lot. Thank you, sir. Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way, first of all. And I don't mean let's get rid of Craig. But Bernard, Haaland, is he going to play? Isn't he going to play?
Well, we're a bit mixed. I don't think he will. I personally don't think he will. I've heard it from another source or two that he should be okay, but I don't think we're going to take any chances. All right, he can have the World Cup off anyway because he won't be playing in it. So to me, you get him out there on crutches, he's still have an effect. But that's a bit still. I don't think he'll play, but there's a lot of City fans think he will play. So I can't be any more certain than that. He was apparently spotted limping somewhere yesterday, wasn't he, on social media into a hospital. But the news is it's not bad, but that doesn't mean he's going to play on Saturday. That just means it's not a bad injury. He'll be back. But I don't think so. But the jury's out at the moment.
If I can just say, if there's any Leicester City fans watching that live in Manchester, Brad, get down to the hospital, wait for him to come out and kick the sticks out from under his arms. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Let's face it, Craig, if I was Pep Guardiola, and I mean, I often think I am if you're playing FIFA, but when, I would look at this game and think, I don't need to risk Haaland. I mean, it is only Leicester. Look at where we are and look at where they are. And they're still a bloody formidable team with or without him.
I think that'll be the case. I think I'd be surprised if he starts, let's put it that way. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if he's sitting on the bench just in case he's needed. But I can't see that they would risk starting him if there's any doubt over his fitness at the moment. I'd be very surprised.
Yes. And thank you to everybody that's put in messages in the chat. It is much appreciated. Thank you, LDH. Terry's in. May sound daft. I want Haaland to play. Oh, just to see how good our defence is compared to other teams. Terry, I don't know what you've had, but can I have 2 pints of it, please?
That's the 3 clean sheets you've had. That's getting carried away.
Hey, I'm not getting carried away, but we are equal third in the clean sheet table now. We shouldn't knock these things. We do it at Leicester here. I was going through sort of the run into these games before, our current form. We've beaten, no disrespect to them, Nottingham Forest, Leeds, Wolves. We've drawn with Crystal Palace. They are teams that we look at on paper and think we should be getting something from. Yeah. You've got to be looking at this game and thinking, oh, let's hope Arsenal slip up because we could go top here.
No, we don't do that. We want to win it. Of course we do. I mean, I will throw one fact at you. Just to, again, as you know, I try and cheer you guys up. We played 16 games. We played 8 at home, including the Champions League, of course. I'm including that. We've won 8 at home, all 8, no problem. We've only won 3 out of 8 away from home. Only won 3. We've not won away from home since we beat Wolves. And only 3-0, as you said early on. You beat
that was me grasping at straws there.
I'm trying to build you up here. Yes, of course, I expect City to win this. Of course, I do. But we all know with City's high line and a defence at the moment that Pep's having to swap around. We're having to play Stones at right back. We're having to bring Gomez in at left back when he's not played many games. We might even have to play Cancelo at defence, and he's no good at defending. He might be good going forward. So. Yeah, I think you shouldn't be too getting. I don't think you should be behind that chair. I think you should sit proudly on it and not hide behind it. Because I think Leicester will have it. It's a free hit, isn't it? It's a proverbial free hit yet again. And why not? City's away form isn't very, very good, and I think Leicester is the sort of team. I mean, put it this way: if you take your chances like you did against Wolves, was it 5 shots and 4 goals? I mean, that's impressive. I mean, if you do that against us, we're knackered. That's it. We're shot. So
this is sounding good, Craig, isn't it? And just as our defence is coming good,
yeah,
maybe. Am I
Well, a couple of things before I get to that. One, I'm very impressed how quickly you switched formations there, Chris. That was fun.
I'm trying to teach Brendan, but he's not picking up. I like that.
And about a couple of minutes ago, you actually uttered the words "no disrespect to Notts Forest." What the hell are you doing?
Look, this is the person I like to sit here and let Brad almost go for a Leicester win over Forest in the prediction league. Wow. I can just say in my defence, we have got a Nottingham Forest fan in the chat, he's very nice. He's very nice.
Going back to your point, yes, it will be a test for our defence. We gave up a lot of chances to Wolves, to be fair, and I can't see Man City giving up.
Yeah, I think it was it 21 shots. I think Wolves had in the game.
Attempts, Man City will be a lot more clinical than that if we give them those chances. To be honest, I think our best chance is to hope that Mahrez plays and then just give away penalties. I think
He won't be playing. Don't you? Mahrez will not be anywhere near this game. If he's near this game, I'll probably walk out of the King Power myself because I'm down there on Saturday. So I'll probably walk out myself and just go to the bar at the back or something.
Can I just say, Craig, total respect to you for that, for that quote. That is great.
Yeah.
Maybe he missed one or two for us as well, didn't he?
He did.
I wanted to ask you guys, what was his record? I mean, it's 71%, I think, at City. And you think about it, he missed that one against Liverpool a few years back, if you remember, where he blasted it over the bar. And then he scored his next 9 after that, and he was absolutely lethal. And obviously, this 71% is based on the fact of his recent penalty taking. So I just wondered how he was for you lot. If he took many and what was he like?
I think it was probably similar, but I mean, Vardy was the main penalty taker and Mahrez was sort of stepped in. But I think his penalty taking reflects his performances. Really, there's
something wrong with. There's something wrong with Mahrez. I mean, he's literally only started 3 Premier League games. He's played 4 out of 5 of the Champions League games. But there is a problem there. We know there's a problem there. But Pep's doing what he did with Sterling last year. He tends to have faith in him that it'll be okay. And he just has bad game after bad game. And he's actually started 2 of the last 3 Premier League games as well and not done that much. He had 1 good game out of the 3. So there is something a bit further, as you said, psychologically. Something not quite right at the moment. We don't know what it is, but there's obviously something going on.
I can remember for us that he did go. He did sort of. There was a period when he did seem to take all the penalties, and he would miss a couple in a row. Yeah, you'd look at him and you think, "Oh, it's Mahrez. He's going to take a penalty," but
as I say, it reflects him as a player, really. He can be absolutely brilliant, but then he can also be really frustrating as well. And we know from our own history with him that he can be a bit sulky. So that may be what you're seeing reflected in his performances at Man City at the moment, where he's no longer, one of the first names on the team sheet. He's having to play a bit part, and I'm sure he doesn't like it.
If you can never find him, Bernard, just go and have a look at Manchester Airport. He'll probably be sat on the floor somewhere there waiting. Craig, stick with you. Johnny Evans could be back. I mean, would you throw him into this game?
No, I think the only way he plays is if Brendan decides to go with the back 3 and wing backs, which I wouldn't be surprised knowing Brendan. Although, the reason I wouldn't be surprised is because he would be contradicting himself, because he's come out and said there's nothing wrong with the shape and the formations that we're playing. So that would be typical the week following that for him to change and do something different. But I can't. I don't know why you would, to be honest. Johnny, you would probably. I mean, if we managed to get ourselves ahead, maybe. He would bring him in and change to a 5, but I wouldn't be going with him from the off. He could break down at any moment, and you've used a sub after 10 minutes. So it's all about the back line defense. Yeah, I mean, defenses are all about partnerships and groups, aren't they? Unit. It's always called a defensive unit, and there's a reason for that. Is that they all play together and they know their strengths and weaknesses, and the longer they can play together, with 4 out of 5 clean sheets, I think it'd be very harsh to break that up.
I mean, not so long ago, Bernard, we were thinking by the time we get to the Man City game, we'll be conceding 10, 11, 12. But we have suddenly got this clean sheets. I think Brendan suddenly realised that Amati is right-footed, so he puts him on the right of the 2 centre-backs. Why it took him so long to work that out, who knows? But, you...
It's all about momentum, isn't it? You've got the momentum now. You've got a little bit of momentum going. Why not? It's a game that, as I said, at the end of the day, you don't expect to win particularly. It'd be like, Mr. Rodgers, of course, will be telling these guys. You don't expect. So, as you say, the proverbial free hit. But Leicester have players that can certainly cause our high line that we play. If you watch the game against Dortmund in midweek, I mean, we got caught out 3 or 4 times in that first half. Just a simple ball over to the right winger, and he went storming down the right, and we were lost. We sort of should have let a couple of goals in, and then we tightened it in the second half. Obviously, Pep changed things around, but Yeah, I'm not. I'm optimistic. As I said, I'm optimistic that we've got to go there, and I think was it 1-0 last year, wasn't it? 1-0. I think you hit the bar last year from memory. You had a goal disallowed. Vardy was just offside. I remember that. Do the same again, and there's certainly a point there for you, and who knows what else. But for me, I'll always stick up for my guys. But I wouldn't be too despondent. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a cracking game. On Saturday, because I certainly don't think you lot will play too negative. You might sit back and give us a possession as teams do, but I expect a cracking game. And I think Leicester, three on the trot now, no goals let in. That goal is after following Schmeichel. I thought, who's this guy in there? I thought, what's he doing? When I was watching on Match of the Day, I thought, well, why the hell did they let Schmeichel? Get Schmeichel back, for God's sake. But fortunately now, that'll do him good as well, won't it? 3 clean sheets. Yeah. So, I don't think you've anything to lose, but I think we're going to have to be at it. You're going to really have to be at it to get anything out of this game on Saturday. And I'm fairly sure we will. But I'm not,
I mean,
we'll see.
He's not going to come back, but Schmeichel might, he's not having the happiest times at Nice. But, I mean, the confidence that we've got, and I'm looking at sort of the game, the teams that are sort of around us at the bottom. I mean, Forest are going to Arsenal. The confidence they will have at Forest, having beaten Liverpool 1-0, is going to be so much better. We're going to have confidence, but that's going to just give them such a boost, isn't it?
It will, but I think, when I watched that, I likened it to when we beat Man United 5-3. And we thought exactly the same. We'd come up that first season. We were 3-1 down. Fantastic. It's still shown on Sky a lot. We turned it round, beat them 5-3. We thought, right, this is a new dawn. And then we went on a horrific run, and we ended up with a great escape to get out of it. So that's what it felt like to me. I think, Liverpool were poor, let's face it.
Yeah.
But, as far as say, you can only beat what's in front of you. And but I think, this is a game where, as you said, Brent, it's a free hit. Yeah, you're right. We're not expecting. We were all looking at the games before this were the ones where we needed to get the points, and we've got some points. You see how the table is suddenly ridiculous. I mean, West Ham were 17th, I think. And then they won a game and they're 11th. I think, that bottom half is so tight at the minute. What we can't afford to do is get turned over badly. I think that would drain the confidence that we've built up, and it's tough to build confidence after the start we had. So I think we just want a solid performance and make a game of it, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd take a draw if you offered it me now.
Yeah.
Bernard, I mean, Jamie Vardy, what a time to score and get you. Because I've said, he needed a goal. He was sort of close and hitting everything. He needed a goal to go off his arse or something and go in, but he got the goal, and he loves the goal against Manchester City. You give him the space. If we can get, and that's the big question, obviously, if we can get the ball to him, I can see him starting against Man City, and I think he might even cause you problems.
Yeah, I think you've got players there that will revel in it. It's as simple as that. You've got players there who played against City before, done okay, as in Mr. Vardy particularly. And as you say, we mentioned that 6-3 earlier on, didn't we? But I mean, obviously, it sounds okay, doesn't it? But we were struggling just a little bit at one stage. So you've got players there that can work on that confidence. If you get a goal, tremendous. I mean, I just want City to sort of get 1 or 2 and turn the screw and just control the game. But it only takes a goal from Leicester early doors. The fans will be up for it, of course, and anything can happen because you've got the guys to do it. You've got the players there that have been through it before, and people want to beat Man City now. It's as simple as that. It's just one of the clubs they want to beat.
Yeah, I mean, Craig. If we could, it would. I mean, we've come into this, and Vardy's got his goal. Maddison is on the form of his life. Everybody knows that, barring one person. Tielemans looks like he's back on form. And Marty and Faze have seemed to be bonding well in those back two. and Daniel Ward looks a completely different goalkeeper. He's coming out, he's commanding, he's shouting for the ball. 9 corners against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and we didn't concede a goal. Can you believe that? For us, it's a good time, I guess, to be playing Manchester City.
I think so. You want to go into a game like this with some confidence, and as you said, particularly, the set piece coach seems to be working pretty well at the moment. We seem to be getting the first head on the ball, and that's all you want, really. And so he's improved that. We need to be a bit smarter at the other end, I think, with our set pieces. But yeah, they've got to be going into this saying, right, our season has started. Let's take it on now against Man City and prove that we are closer to the team that everybody expected than the team we showed in the first half a dozen games.
I mean, Bernard, it is a weird season. Anybody can beat anybody. I mean, Liverpool beating you, that was out the blue, Then you stuff Man United, but then Man United go and beat. Football's not being paid on paper like it used to be, is it? I mean, it's just, and that's a great thing, isn't it? But it would just be typical for you guys to go and, maybe have a cock up against us and lose the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time of the season now where you get into November and December when City usually start pulling up trees. This is when we usually go on our little runs. We've not seen any real evidence of a sort of long unbeaten run at the moment. We've only got 3 games left to actually do it now before the World Cup. But this World Cup has got to put everything. It's just got to change everything again. I honestly thought this season we should have 2 Premier League titles, one for before the World Cup and one for after. I mean, all right, Arsenal are in the hot seat to win it for the first one, but I thought just have a bit of fun. If it's got to get ruined, at least have a bit of fun with it.
I'll go for that. I did mention it
to the Premier League, but they weren't having it. I didn't even get a response. Which at least it would have made it interesting. In all fairness, but it is. As I say, we haven't. As I said, our away form is pretty awful. Say we've won 3 away, we've drawn 4, and obviously lost to Liverpool. And we only lost to Liverpool because Pep sort of just thought too much about Liverpool and didn't. We should have really dominated that game, and Pep took too much respect for Liverpool, and we should have beat them. We didn't. But Pep, he does overthink things occasionally, as we know in the big games, and that's what we think he did in that one. So yeah, it is odd. City out firing. Arsenal are top of the league, so it's all very weird at the moment, isn't it? You have Arsenal up there and won 9 out. Is it 10 out? Won 9 out of 11, is it? That's it. Won 9, drawn 1, and lost 1, haven't we? So that's not bad going, is it? That's league form, but
Craig,
we'll see. It's interesting. It is a funny season. It's going to be a funny old season.
Craig, can you imagine Pep and Brendan playing chess? I mean, it would be one game would take all years. They both overthink things so much. But we've given, at least the thing is, going into this game, we've given Brendan something. We've given Pep something to think about. That maybe if we'd played them 4 or 5 games ago, he wouldn't have been worried about.
No, that's true. And you talk about that Liverpool game, and I was astonished watching that Pep didn't change anything. He didn't seem to change anything. He had Foden stuck on the wing, not moving inside at all. And I mean, he was against Milner for most of that game. And I was just, it was like somebody had just sort of kidnapped Pep and put his twin in, because he did absolutely nothing to change the outcome of that game. So, even managers can have off days. And I think that was his. But you're right. Yeah, he's going to have to give us a little bit more thought now, I think. And, people that he may have rested, maybe he thinks he can't now, because Arsenal.
I personally don't think he would have rested anyway. I think he's looking at the games and the teams he's played. He's not for these sort of games, and Leicester. Even when you talk of Wolves away, he doesn't rest. He's playing his best guys at the moment, because that's what he needs to do. It's not a massive squad we've got now. We've had 3 or 4 injuries, propping up every time. And I think Leicester would have give full respect to anyway, and he's certainly going to give full respect to him on Saturday.
Just catching up with some comments here. Big Morgan, question for you here.
Well, Big Morgan's one of my guys that goes on my channel. He's always got a downer on.
He's got a good Leicester.
Ask him about Grealish. He doesn't like Grealish either.
But he says, Craig, would you take Mahrez back if they gave us 10 million? So 10 million. Mahrez.
Well, I think there's an easy answer to that one. Yes.
No.
To be honest, I think we need the 10 million more than we need Mahrez at the minute.
Yes. I said yes, and then I saw that he was giving us 10 million as well. Yeah. Terry, pretty much like you, Craig, not a big Evans fan. I wouldn't really be fussed if Evans never comes back. Too slows the game down, passing side to side. Yeah. Good evening, Doug. Good evening. How are you? And thank you very much, sir. Kind words. And he says hello to Bernard and hello to Craig. Schmeichel isn't doing so well at his new club at all. No. He got booed the other day. Vardy needs to score to pay off his wife's debt, quite possibly. We should just put a picture of Colleen Rooney in Manchester City's net. That'd do it. More bad news indeed. He might be fit. Okay, I'll come back to you with this one. Do you bring him straight back in or do you stick with Samari? I know we're going to be picking our team later, Craig.
Well, I'll answer the first part of that. No, we don't bring him back. No. Again, you can't be having favourites. You just can't. You can't be doing it. People have got to earn the shirt. Gareth Southgate, just in case you're watching. People have to earn the shirt, and if you say, you can imagine that when indeed he was out, he was saying to Samari, right, you've got your chance, go and earn your place. Great, he's done enough, I think. If you then take him straight back out when indeed he's fit, what does that say to him? So no is the a long answer to a simple question. No.
You had Pratt Madison, and of course Pratt was dropped straight back in, and you can't argue that Madison didn't deserve to be there. But
exactly, Madison was playing well. Indeed, he wasn't playing well, to be honest. So for me, I think I dropped him before he got injured. Because he wasn't playing well enough for me, so no, we'll take that as a no. Doug says to you, Bernard, what colour will, and this is coming from a Liverpool fan, what colour will Manchester City be in on Saturday? Red or that? I think it looks like a bumblebee kit, isn't it? Yellow greenery kit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Hammer 99 kit. If you remember the old 99 kit with the playoff final, that's a bit of a cult kit, with the yellow and
kit?
the 90 when we played Gillingham in the Wembley playoff final.
He's being rude, Bernard.
It was stripes rather than hoops. I've got it in the background there somewhere. I'm today. That's it. That's it. There,
is what he was saying.
So I don't know. I have no idea. Presumably have played in red and black.
How can Doug say that when they have them? Well, it looks like one of those. What were those things that you used to have as kids that you shook up when you turned? It would make all different kaleidoscope. Yeah, Liverpool have got a kaleidoscope for their second kit. So,
I like all three of our kits. So I must admit, this season I quite like them all.
I don't like the green one. Do you, Craig?
To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to other teams.
No, our green one.
Our green kit.
Yes.
Obviously
not. You don't remember.
No. It's a bit insipid, isn't it? Scott's got one. It's all right, but it's a bit. Yeah,
it looks like something off the bill, an extra from the bill, though, doesn't it?
For me, you have a home kit and you have an away kit, and that's it. Where's it going to stop? Fourth kit, fifth kit. It's just ridiculous to me.
Exactly.
2 kits is enough for any team.
And don't forget, guys, the week before on the Thursday before the World Cup kicks off, we are reviewing the home and away kits of all the World Cup teams. And believe you me, if you think Manchester City's away kit is bad, wait till you see some of them. But that's all I will say. Last season, Craig, that 6-3 didn't really tell the story, did it, in the second game?
it was bizarre, wasn't it? Absolutely bizarre. You were feeling a bit of a 9-0 coming on. I think, I don't know how quick it was. I think you got to 4 very quickly. And you were just sort of wanted to watch the game behind the sofa. It was a horror show, but we showed. I think it was, again, it's typical of us, and it's probably typical of Man City. Our threats are going forward. We know that we've always got a goal threat, and Man City have a liability to switch off. It's rare that you watch them more than I do. It's rare that I see Man City play through 90 minutes. If they're in a game where they're winning it easy.
Yeah, switching off in the way that we do a lot more passing about and just controlling the game rather than worry too much about adding 5, 6, 7, 8 goals, which we used to perhaps 2 or 3 years ago. We don't tend to do that as much now. We stick at 5.
I think in that game there were 4 or 3 if they play Wolves, which who only gets 3 against Wolves. That's what I want to know. But I think we were 4-0 up against us. I think we got 2 back, didn't we? Just into the second.
Got 3 back, didn't you?
I think we got back to 4-3, and then you
4-3 at one stage. Yeah.
Oh, we got all 3. Right. So we put up a fight. We didn't go down, and I think that's what we want to see tomorrow, isn't it, Craig? We want to see the performance and the fight.
Yeah, you do. What you don't want to do, as I said before, you don't want to get turned over badly. So, I can't see us going gung-ho and try and leaving gaps, because the game could be over in 15 minutes again. So I think we'll be pretty tentative and try and draw Man City on and then hit them on the break. That's what most teams seem to get any success doing against Man City. So I can't see that we would do anything different.
Just a quick one here for you, Bernard. Terry says, why did the change from the Mike Summerby era red and black to light sky blue? I thought the red and black was just an away kit.
Yeah,
that was that was obviously introduced at Everton in the late 60s, obviously as a homage to Milan by Malcolm Allison. And it was our away kit. Yeah, it was obviously we played in cup finals in it. We won the 70 Cup Winners' Cup in it. We won the 69 FA Cup in it. So, yeah, it was sky blue at home. And
you had to get that one in, didn't you? You had to get that one in the 69 FA Cup, yeah.
League Cup as well. We played red and black in the League Cup as well. So we won the sort of domestic titles in the European Cup Winners' Cup in the red and black stripes. And the blue was the home kit. That was it.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt as much now, does it, Craig?
No, we've got our own trophies. We're fine.
A question will come to you first. Well, let's stick with you first of all, Bernard. Doug says here, questions for all 3. If you could bring back one ex-player to improve your side now, who would you bring back and why?
How long are we going back?
Well, I mean, do they have to be alive, Doug? I
was just going to say, I'd bring back Colin Bell all day long, but it's a long time ago, obviously.
Oh, I think Colin Bell, I think that's what he's getting at. So, yeah, for you, Colin Bell?
Yeah. I mean, modern era, I'd probably say a firing Sergio who didn't get injured, to work alongside Alan. That'd be interesting.
Just on that, I listened to the audio book of Paul Lake's autobiography, which if people haven't read it or haven't heard it, is a very good read, but a very
superb considering what he went through.
Very sad and at the time a shocking indictment of the way the club was run as well, in terms of the treatment that he got there. But he looked like he was going to be the new Colin Bell or whatever, and he looked like he had literally, when they say you've got the world at your feet, he looked like he did have, and then just injuries that in this day and age he would probably get over. He'd have a long career.
Flew over to Europe or America and have it sorted now.
Yeah, and not in economy seats as well, as they say. Yeah.
And the players had to have a whip round for his girlfriend to go over and stuff like this. The club didn't. The players had a whip round and that sort of thing.
But Craig, so who would you bring back?
What for Leicester?
Yes.
Ooh, geez.
Alan Birch and all.
Who would I bring back?
Peter Shilton.
I think. I mean, in his heyday or in his pomp, Mahrez was great for us, but probably, I don't know, probably Kante.
See, I knew you were going to go for Kante, so I've been thinking, who else can I go for? Who else can I go for? Because yes, in his heyday, I would have Kante back all over. But
having said that, let me just go back. If I was going back a bit further, Steve Walsh. Because
I won't bother saying anybody.
Well, no, I was just thinking how far back do I go? But in terms of probably character and not letting standards slip, Steve Walsh. Steve Walsh was the typical guy who achieves more than his ability.
We need a quarterback on that pitch, don't we? I mean, I was tempted to say Robbie Savage, but I'm not sure. For me, I must admit, Steve Walsh, he was who I was going to say, and I did have a second one. Well, I thought Kante as well. So, I suppose if I've got to go for somebody new, I would love to see Frank Worthington play back in this modern game, because what he could do back then. If he could do half of that again now, I mean, rest in peace, Frank. You're no longer with us, but what a player he was. He was. Whether he'd fit into any team that that included the words work rate, I'm not sure. But skillful, he had it. He was one of the last sort of playboys, of that era. The likes of Stan Bowles and Rodney Marsh and all those when footballers were allowed to have a bit of character. I'm not saying they don't have, but they were allowed to back in the day. Now, in the world of social media, you don't really know what footballers are really like because they have to lock themselves away. I love the story that Birch always says about Frank Worthington, that as soon as he signed, the players' lounge was always filled with the wives that had never come to a game before. But talking of characters, big man, and I think he's probably said this with his tongue well and truly firmly planted in his cheek, Mario Balotelli. Yes.
Well, he never missed a penalty, as he said. He never missed a penalty like Yaya Toure never missed a penalty either. So
no, but come on, would you? You wouldn't. Keith Weller, I was thinking Keith Weller, but Frank just got it over me. Arthur Rowley. I mean, we could go. We're going back. Down.
I would have gone back to Alan Clark as this goal scorer. There you go, sniffer Alan Clark.
Oh, well, he could go for either club, couldn't he? Really? Bernard, does Ortega keep his place, says Doug?
No.
Okay.
People are saying he should. People are saying he should, but he won't.
Okay. Steve says Anthony Knockaert, even though he missed the penalty against Watford and we stayed in the Championship. But look where we went after that. Look what happened after that. How do you see... Bernard, how do you see sort of Pep setting out tomorrow, formation-wise?
Oh, well, I do a preview, and I'll tell you what, this is the hardest team I've had to pick because I've had to try and put on my head that Haaland won't be playing, so I've had to try and cobble it together. And there's people like Akanji who've been playing superbly at the back. I've even left him out. I just don't think Akanji can get in the team because I think Pep's got to play safe, but with quite a good team. I've got an 11 here. I'll shout it out to you. Do you want? Just see what you guys think.
What formation are you going? Are you?
Well, it could be anything, mate. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It could be anything. It'll be a diamond formation somewhere along the line.
It's like Nottingham Forest against Liverpool.
It'll be a triangular pivot and all this sort of things going on in Pep's team. He'll just be messing it about. I mean, if you look at the back five, obviously Edison's there as the goalie. I said Ortega had a good game the other day, but he's only there for cup games. Edison's going to be the main man. Stones, Diaz, Laporte and Cancelo at the back. Obviously, Cancelo rolling forward as a wing-back. In the middle, Rodri, KDB and Gundo. Doesn't usually work, Rodri and Gundo, but if Haaland's out, I think Gundogan's got to be in there to have a bit of composure. And up front, he's got to bring Grealish back. You give Grealish a rest the other night, he's going to play. And Bernardo, who's the guy for me, who holds us all together at the moment. Bernardo, they go on about Haaland, but it's Bernardo that's holding this City team together this season, and Foden. So, you're gonna have KDB, Gundo, Foden, Bernardo, and Grealish all pivoting around in that like Sabutio players in the middle of the pitch and the up top.
Nothing to worry about there much then, Craig, is there? I mean,
Well,
I'm going to say Grealish. He doesn't bother me. I think I know he was cost a fortune, etc. But I've never really seen him have a good game.
I think Grealish he's actually hit a little bit of form, but obviously then Pep rests him and keeps him out, so he's not getting a run of games to carry on that little bit of form. But if Big Morgan comes on, he'll probably say don't put Grealish in because he can't stand him. But usually with Pep, it's Grealish or Mahrez, and he's not going to play Mahrez in a million years. So I expect Grealish to start.
Yeah. I again looking from the outside, what I thought of Grealish when he's come to you is that Pep won't stand for people losing the ball. And when he was at Villa, he basically had free reign to run at whoever he wanted, and if he lost it, they'd win it back and they'd give it him again. And it didn't seem like that he was allowed to do that at Man City.
That's why he's not as effective, because he's not losing the ball because he's not taking the chances perhaps that he took at Villa, so he doesn't look quite as effective.
That's what I mean. So he looks like a bit of a shadow of it, that he'll take an easy option. And when I've watched him a couple of times, he looks like he takes that easy option, so he wants to come inside all the time.
There's a young lad called Cole Palmer who keeps getting on bits and pieces of game. Now, that's his problem. He will take people on and lose it. So Pep isn't going to start Cole Palmer because he doesn't want that at the moment, but he doesn't want to knock his confidence, obviously. So he allows him to play for last 10 minutes of games that are won or are sorted. So, you're quite right with what you're saying about. I think that's one of the problems with Grealish. He's been reined in just a little bit, and Pep's playing him in a different role than he would have played at Aston Villa.
But I think
he'll come on for 5 minutes. Southgate will pick him anyway. So what?
But I think Mahrez was the same when he first went there, and then he went on the following season, had a really good season, and now he's sort of falling apart a little bit. But
he had a great season. Mahrez was superb last season. Absolutely fantastic.
When he first went there, I don't think he was that great, was he? Because he had to learn.
Very hard with Pep's system for players to have a good first season. There's the only rare. There's some exceptions to the rule, as there always is. Laporte is a prime example. He's slotted straight in, but that's defensively. I think it's a little bit easier than up the pitch.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing? We're going to go into score predictions in a minute, Bernard. But will you stop feeding Phil Foden 3 Weetabix every match day?
Well, he's another one. He's another guy who he got a big wage rise. He got a lot of money, and he's got to step up now. He's got to step up and do it more consistently, because he's on the big bucks now. He's probably our third or fourth highest paid player now. The last couple of games not quite, but he certainly, once he got his wage rise, he did improve. That's for sure. So we no room for him to slack it off now. He's got to step up with the big boys.
Yeah, I think the biggest danger to Phil Foden fulfilling his potential is Phil Foden, to be honest, because I've seen him in a couple of games and he looks like there's a little bit of arrogance getting in there. And again, I'm not sure that's when he plays his best, to be honest. But a great talent, and it'll be a danger. It just depends where he's going to play. I'd rather have the Phil Foden against Liverpool than any other Phil Foden that I've seen this season.
That was a disappointing Phil Foden. If you can't tear Milner a new one, it's a bit of a problem. He should have done far better. But again, he's probably under orders. He was probably under orders from Pep to find the man rather than try and take him on too many times.
Yeah. Well, I must admit, I'm going to bring the score predictions up now, and I don't think I've ever seen such a miserable set of score predictions in my life. Thank God for Brad and me. That's all I will say. So I'll go through these, and I'll come for yours at the end, Bernard. But here we go. So Brad, he thinks it's going to be high scoring. He's gone for 3-3. I agree. I can't just go against my team, and I have gone for 2-2. And I think these guys here now, from Craig downwards, are just wanting points in the prediction league because most of them have only got 1 point. Craig's gone 2-4, and you had to go at me about bigging up Nottingham Forest. How dare you, Craig?
That's the first time I've ever gone against us.
Oh, it could be the last that you'll do on this show. Jerry Taggart, who unfortunately is actually top of the league on 8 points, has gone 3-1 Man City, as indeed has Ian Marshall, who, believe it or not, is second. I'm waiting for Ian Wilson's vote to come in, as they say. Steve LeiMci has gone for a bit of reverse psychology and has gone 1-0 to Man City. And Steve Walsh, he's also gone 3-1. 3-1 seems to be the popular score there. Bernard, I'm sure you're going to say it's going to be a Manchester City win. I'd be surprised if you didn't. How many do you think you're going to get?
Well, I'll be honest with you. We'll let Vardy have one, and we'll score 2.
Oh,
2-1.
I've got to be honest with you. I'll take 2-1 at the moment. That's how bad things are.
I don't think there'll be no way on earth do I expect it to be a bigger than a 2-goal margin either way. Obviously, hopefully our way and for us. But I'd be very surprised if it's more than a 2-goal margin, whatever happens.
Just hold on to those dreams, Craig. You know that when we played them and it was 5-2, second game of the season. Oh, just dream. Just pop out.
That was one of those where I think you had 6 shots and 5 went in. It's a bit like the Wolves game. I think it was a bit like that.
Penalties. You kept giving us a penalty. And Doug, I will take that very much now. 2-2. I will definitely take that. It's usually Charlie, the Man City fan, I'm having to say go and have an early night too, but you've got to get off to bed. Are you up at 2 in the morning or something?
Yeah, 10 past. I start my shift at 3 o'clock. So, and then obviously I'm Saturday off. I've switched my Saturday for my Sunday so I can go to Leicester. So up at 2 tomorrow, off Saturday and back up at 2 Sunday and Monday.
I must admit, when you say I'm going out at 2, I'm thinking, did you other half know about this? Bernard, thank you so much for popping in.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
Always. I have put your details in below, but just give a shout out as to where people can find you.
Yeah, you follow me on Twitter, guys, at Bernard_Dineen. All my YouTube stuff's on there. And I even do stuff on film and TV as well as Manchester City. So give us a follow on there.
I actually joined Rotten Tomatoes the other week because I was so disgusted in a program. It was so awful that I had to get on there just to comment.
Which one?
Well, it had Stanley Tucci in, is it, from America, and the
one in the prison. The one in the prison.
Yeah,
and,
he's in the prison, and David Tennant is a paedophilic vicar. I mean,
he should stick to being Doctor Who. I think he's back for that, isn't he? So it'll be all right.
It was written by an ex-Doctor Who, Stephen Moffat. Anyway, we're getting off, but it is awful, guys. If you want to watch something, make sure you do not watch that. Bernard, hey, have a good night, mate. Sleep well.
Cheers, guys. All the best. Good luck to you, but not too much.
You take care.
Bernard.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks to Bernard. There's got to be up, like I say, at an unearthly hour there. And you thought it was me that was changing all the times. Vaden Sin, he's gone Leicester City 2, Manchester City 1. But can I just clear this up here, right? Manchester City are not City.
Good.
Because why should they be the City? Stockport have got just as much claim to it as they have. Not Stockport. I'm
going to say, even though they're Stockport County.
Yes, I'm done. There must be. There was a city around there that up for it. But no, it does pee me off when they're talking about this game. And you get Sky and BT will be going like, "Well, City did this and City did that." And like, yeah, which one? Which one? Right. So yeah. Anyway, thanks to Bernard for coming in. Craig, let's have a look and see what we're going to do with this old team-wise here. Where's me? I've done everything new today, as you can see, and I don't know where anything is. So I'm actually. I mean, I've gone for 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
The big question mark for me is Brendan, because you just
Yeah.
don't know what Brendan is going to do. I mean, you know, he kept Barnes in and he dropped Pratt, and I said they were both the wrong decisions. Barnes scored. Obviously, we won 4-0, although Pratt came on later. So just show what
Yeah.
I know, I guess. You know?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I've played around with 2 or 3 different formations, but then you start thinking, what would you do, and what is Brendan going to do? And it's difficult because we know, as it seems at the moment, first name on the team sheet appears to be Barnes. So you
Yeah.
have to build it around him, sadly. But he's scored in the last game, and he's looked
Last 2
dangerous in
games,
patches.
hasn't
Yeah, so you can't take anything away from him at the moment. So I don't think this team is going to change a lot. That's for sure.
No, I'm trying to remember what your chosen formation is.
You might as well leave it at that, because that's what it'll be.
Okay. Okay. So in goal, I presume we're sticking with Danny Ward.
Yep. He's I mean, he's earned it at the minute, and fair play to
Yes.
fair play to the manager, fair play to the players, fair play to Ward, fair play to Amati, whatever. These players who have been getting stick, have been putting in performances. So you have to hold your hand up sometimes and say, well done.
Yes. I mean, no matter what channels like this, any of the big channels that are on here, AFTV, Mark Goldrich, whatever they say, it doesn't mean anything, because A, they're probably, they're almost certainly not watching it, but B, there's only one person you've got to listen to, and that's the manager.
Yeah, that's it.
And he's stuck by Ward. I think, in fairness, most serious Leicester fans knew that, it wasn't just Ward's problem; it was a whole defensive problem. And I'm glad we stuck with him, and he looks better for it now. There's a lot of that. I don't know whether a lot of it is down to the set piece coach, but what a difference! He's coming for the ball, he's shouting for the ball, he's commanding.
He is. Maybe he feels that he's got a little bit more say in there, that Johnny's not there, and we know that Johnny does slow the game down, which means the gaps get closed quicker, which means we're on the ball as a back four a lot longer than we are at the minute, which means that you're more likely to get caught out and the ball's going to get turned over. Yeah. So I think that ability that Johnny's not there now, we do look to move the ball forward quicker, which means we're not getting caught as much in possession in dangerous areas.
Is there a thin line, though, between slowing the game down rather than just hoofing it for the sake of hoofing it?
There is, but it's all about speed of transition through the game, particularly in the way that everybody plays out from the back now. You can't play out from the back slowly, because it is literally pointless, because the team gets back in position, there are no gaps. So you have to, if you're playing out from the back, you've got to do it quickly and exploit any gaps before the opposition get back and set.
You are talking to the converted. I agree. I hate all this about at the back and what have you. But hello to Louise. Welcome in, Louise. I hope you're well. We nearly got to talk on Monday night, but you were having a few of the old internet problems. Now then, so on the left, are we sticking with Mr. Justin?
Yeah, this will be the same back four. Yeah, there's nothing going to change here. 3 out of 4 clean sheets.
Nothing to see here.
No. There's not going to be a lot of excitement throughout the whole team, to be honest. I'm going to make one change, I think. So,
hang on, I've put him in the wrong place.
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, it is actually so untrue, but you can't tell the difference. What am I doing? Right.
Now, there's a question that's been asked more than once.
It has. And nobody's yet come up with an answer. No. There we go. I mean, everybody is talking about Fez.
Yeah.
What a signing.
Mm.
I think it's a case of, are we missing Fofana? I mean, it's almost a case of Fofana who. Yes, we know what Fofana potential had, but we've got a more mature defender that is those couple of years ahead of Fofana.
Yeah, I mean, Fofana was great, and I'm not going to change any view of that. You know, wouldn't it be great if we had Fofana and Fars?
Well,
there, but we haven't. But yeah, he shows a maturity, as you say, and I think it was highlighted last week on Match of the Day about the Wolves game. His decision making is good. You know, he doesn't. He likes to get in first. He's very aggressive and he's on the front foot, but he also seems to have a bit of a footballing brain, and he knows when to go in and he knows when to drop off. And there were 2 or 3 occasions where he dropped off, where maybe Soyuncu would have gone in and got played around. So far, so very good.
He picked up a yellow card at the end of the Wolves game, which just reminding them, you know, I'm still here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gone. But what I love about this guy is that he has a sense of danger, if you like. Yes, he's going to make mistakes, and you know, yes, of course, when you first come, if you're going to make mistakes, that's when mistakes are made, because you're still getting used to your teammates, etc., etc. But if the ball comes into him and he knows there's danger, he'll just whack it.
Yeah,
it's like get out of the way in row Z, it's coming your way, sort of thing. And
but that awareness that he's got, there's a great clip from the Wolves game where I think he's running back towards his own goal and he's closed down by 2 players and he just backheels it.
Oh, that was classic.
Between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
To a Leicester player. And I think he's got that awareness. He's got like the awareness of a midfield player. But I remember saying this, I'm not just throwing it in now to try and sound clever, but I remember when it looked like we were going to sign him and he'd just come to the club or whatever, that I'd been reading about him, and a lot of people were talking about him as a person as much as him as a footballer, and his character and his leadership qualities. And I think we're seeing all that now, and we hoped at the time that this could be one player who would turn things around and give some leadership and bring character to it. And I think he's done all those things. Everything we hoped that he would bring, he's done, and long may it continue.
And Rob Tanner of The Athletic, who, you know, I you know, to me, he's one of the better sports writers when it comes to Leicester. He's, you know, he did a great article on him. I don't know if you subscribe to The Athletic or not, but if anybody doesn't out there, it's £1 a month for 6 months. Have a read, because just for Rob Tanner, to be honest with you. But do you know those days when you used to take a paper into the toilet with you? Now you just go in with a mobile phone and the Athletic app. You know, but anyway, that's going. We don't want to know too much about that.
No.
You know,
Moving on.
That you say, would you like to see Fez and Soyuncu together?
Part of me would.
Mm.
I think it would be entertaining and frightening at the same time. You know,
I think it would confuse the opposition, because they're like, who the hell am I marking now, sort of thing.
I mean, what the one thing that annoys me at the moment is still the amount of stick that Amati gets, which I think is, you know, it's out of kilter. Yet he does frighten me occasionally, because he seems to take a little bit too long on the ball, and he's not the best passer of the ball. But he's part of a back 4 that has kept all these clean sheets, and he reads the game pretty well, and he does. He gives everything that he's got. You know, he may not be as skillful as other players, but I don't like the way that he seems to be singled out. Leicester fans seem to like a target. You know, it was Ward. Now Ward's playing a bit better. It's Amati. It's still Amati. Doesn't matter what Amati does. I think it'll always be Amati. And I don't like it.
It's been Chilwell.
Yeah. I don't like it, to be honest. He's not perfect. We all know that, but you know, he plays for us and he gives everything he's got.
I mean, I'll take you back to the Community Shield. I've told you this story many times. You know, walking up Wembley Way, up the steps, around the stadium, and they were just started to announce the Leicester team. and they announced Marty was in, and you could hear the groan from the Leicester fans. But last season, I'm sorry, when we did the vote at the end, I think I had him down as my most improved player.
Yeah.
And that, for me, yes, he was awful. I'm not going to lie, he was awful at the start of the season, but he was being played on the left.
Yeah.
Now that he's put Faze over there and Marty back on the right, like you say, clean sheets. And I'm sorry, you're not going to use that argument. Well, it's only Wolves, it's only Leeds and Palace. It was only Brentford, but we lost. We let two in. It was only Southampton, but we let two in. So big up to the guy. Yes, I mean, I don't know whether, like you say, whether I'd want Johnny Evans straight back in or not. But I'd love to see Face and Sörensjö together. I'm not going to lie. Sent that centre midfield sort of defensive role.
Yeah. For me, this is the change I'm making. I would bring Mendy in here.
You did this last week, you said, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I just think he reads the game better, and he's got more of a defensive mind on him than Samari is. I think Samari can, which is great in a lot of games, and you want that. You want him, but where indeed he wasn't progressive, Samari will be progressive, and he'll want to occasionally run with the ball, and he will want to pick out a pass. But I'm not sure this is the game where you can afford to have your central defensive midfielder caught out of position, because those quick movements and quick interchanges that Man City do, I think Mendy would be better suited just sitting and shielding.
Again, you're talking to we're agreeing way too much here, Craig, you know that. But no, I love Mendy as a player. I was really disappointed when he didn't get into the squad last year at the start of the season. Last season, I should say, at the start of the season, and I was worried that he was going to lose. We were going to lose him because over him or Chowdhury, because at that point, indeed, he was all going to be. I've lost my train of thought there. I was reading something else. But if indeed he was going to always be the number one choice, which he was, I would have certainly have had Mendy as the backup over Chowdhury. But
no, I get that. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if Brendan tweaks it slightly and plays Mendy and Samari.
Highfield says, on this day in 1984, we beat Villa 5-0. I was at the game. Wow. Beating Villa anytime is good, but that sounds like a good one. Doug says here, prayers for Arsenal defender Pablo Mari, who is in a Milan hospital after being involved in a stabbing incident in Milan. Totally, Doug. Prayers go and thoughts go out to him and his family. Pablo Mari in hospital. Neil's in. Good evening, Neil. The tall one of the two. Did you hear Dominic Wells' analysis of Tielemans in that right of a back three role? Really fascinating. I haven't, to be honest with you. I haven't. But I will go and check it later. Craig, let's have a look again back at the team. Talking of Tielemans, does he go on the right for you?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I haven't been a huge Tielemans fan this season. Again, it's been right. But I haven't been a huge fan of Tielemans for, most of last season as well. And that's, a little bit of it is because obviously the way he's treating us with the contract. Yeah. So there is that. But he hasn't been let loose, I feel like. He's been, and you've said this a few times, it's almost like Brendan, whether he's picked Samari, whether he's picked Mendy, that he daren't leave them at the back on their own.
Yeah.
And they needed Tielemans. So, and as I kept saying, if he'd been playing that role in the FA Cup, he would not have scored that goal.
No.
He wasn't playing that role against Wolves. And my God, man of the match and probably one of the goals of the season.
Yeah, and I think he looks like a player who's come to terms with the fact that he's going to be here all season and he's just going to go in the summer. And all of that turmoil around the transfer window, would somebody come in with enough for us to let him go? I think played on him a little bit, and then you're in a team that's lacking confidence. And I think he's been freed up a little bit, and I think mentally he's feeling freed up a little bit as well, that he's going to play it, he's going to give everything he's got, he's going to make sure that he's in that Belgium squad for the World Cup and go and enjoy it and make sure that he's in that Belgian starting team, not just in the squad. And I think we're seeing more of the old Tielemans. And again, you know, if we're going to lose him in the summer, we're going to lose him. Let's just make sure that we get the best out of him while we've got him.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's a very thin line between cutting your nose off and spiting your face, isn't it? And my argument always was not his attitude. I can never question his attitude for us. I say I can question his, not signing the contract, blah, blah, blah. But while he's been on the pitch, but it's just, it was his form that time, and maybe that was because he was being played out of position. But you don't know. It's a funny old game, as somebody once said. You don't know what's going to happen with him. But it was interesting to see Martinez. Was he at the? It was the Wolves game he was at, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and you got a really good link up between Tielemans, Pratt, and it was the home game, wasn't it?
Yes.
You got Pratt, Castagna, and Tielemans, and there was some really good link up play between
and of course
against
you had
Leeds
as well. We got half the Belgian team there.
Yeah, exactly.
Could just have the other half, please. Neil says, remember the Tielemans and Mendy double pivot for the 5-2 away to Manchester City? Yep. Now then, and Craig says yes as well. Again, I presume we're going to be going for Mr. Dewsbury Hall.
We are. I think, again, another player who seems to be coming back to the levels of form that we saw last season. Again, we had a lot of players who dipped earlier in the season. I think it reflected in the performances, but they're coming back. I mean, against Leeds, I don't know, he looked dead on his feet, but every time there was a space to run into, he ran into it. He didn't sort of get rid of the ball and just have a breather. He was doing a hell of a lot of work. He just seems to have this engine, and not only an engine, but a desire to leave everything out on the pitch. He looks like a player who's living his dream, playing for his boyhood club, and he's going to make the most of it. And again, you can't knock the kid. He's been great.
Do you remember what I said earlier about the City thing? Well, Jack's in. We'll say good evening to Jack. Welcome along. Thanks for popping in. Obviously a Manchester City fan. Leicester City are going to be beaten by Man City. Come on, City. I presume from that, Jack, that you're saying, come on, Leicester City. Because we are the home team, and therefore, Manchester City are not City. Manchester City are basically a poor imitation of Leicester, if you like, who've just had to get a bit of money recently. I mean, they're even having to wear our second-hand washed-out shirts. They can't even get a decent blue, can they? That'll start an argument off. Pratt has done nothing wrong to be dropped, but it is a golden problem to have.
It's true. He took his chance, didn't he, against Leeds? He had a great game. It's just really unfortunate, and I think as fans you can share his frustration, but you can also understand the manager. It's a difficult position to be in.
We said early, didn't we? No player should automatically want to come back in, but Maddison at the moment, he's just you could not bring him back, could you? It's that nose face thing again. But I did fear the worst for Pratt when I saw him come off after the Leeds game, and Rodgers had his arm around him, smiling at him and what have you. I thought, you're going to be dropped.
Well, against a lesser team, and again, no disrespect, but for those sort of middling teams, I'd quite like to see Pratt in that central defensive midfield role, but be a bit more progressive with it. The way Samari plays it, where he plays a little bit more forward of a defensive mid, I think Pratt's got the capability to do that because he's a great passer of the ball and he's got a good engine. And I'd like to see him get an opportunity. Again, maybe, I know it's a lesser opposition, but maybe, he could play that role against Newport or something and see how he takes to the position. But I think he's more than capable of doing it.
And he wants to be here.
Yeah.
You look at Samari and you look at Pratt, and they both said, we don't want to go. We want to stay and fight for our place, and that is worth. I mean, Pratt's like having a new signing, isn't he?
Yeah. He's a really good player. I don't think you'll find anybody who says that they don't like him, to be honest.
No, I don't at all. Are we going Barnes on the left?
We are, again, I'm not the biggest fan of Barnes, but you can't knock him at the moment. It's just, I just wish he had a brain, But,
I'm not going to knock him, but I wish he had a brain. Oh, that was a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
there.
it was really, but it's the frustration because he's not kicked on from where he was, and I think that is football intelligence that holds him back a little bit. That he has a position and he knows how to play that, but he doesn't make the right runs off the ball. He doesn't see it. He's very much please give me the ball to feet. I'm going to run. I'm going to look for a 1-2. If you can work that out and fill the gaps, then you nullify Barnes.
Yes.
So, let's hope Man City, are thinking more about going forward and less about their defensive duties, and maybe Barnes will get some joy.
Indeed. I'd love to be able to fit an Acho in this team, but I don't think we are.
Me too.
And it's going to be Maddison, isn't it, on the right?
Yeah, well, Maddison has to be back in there. Again, it's just a shame that the one poor game he's had this season was the one when Gareth was watching.
Typical, yeah. I don't think it made any difference. Let's be honest.
No. It gave Gareth a reason, didn't it? That he can throw it back now.
Yeah, it did. Now, I don't know whether we're going to agree on this one or not. I kind of probably go who I'm going for from what I said earlier. But who are you going for in that striker role?
I'm going to go Vardy. I think the goal will have done him a world of good. I think he likes playing against Man City. I think as much of that, I don't think they like playing against him. Yeah. And that means that their defenders, will pay more attention to him, and hopefully there'll be opportunities around them because they know what Vardy can do to them, and he's done it enough times in the past. So whereas normally I would be starting someone else and bringing Vardy off the bench, I think this is a game where you start Vardy.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
You agree?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I think he loves. You just said it there, were you? I can't add anything to it. Really, what you said. He loves playing against City. They don't like playing against him. But please, can we get the ball to him?
Yeah.
There's no point having him on the field if we're not going to get the ball to him, because he can't run up and down for 70 odd minutes like Daka can. So if we're going to play him, and we should play him, then at least let's be getting the ball to him. Don't let him have to be coming back for it.
No, but he does have a responsibility to make some runs as well. He can't just sit in between, Stones and Diaz and hope that we're going to try and thread a ball through. He has to make those two defenders earn their money tomorrow on Saturday. But
I think that is. I think it will be Soumaré in the middle. But I like Mendy as much as you do, and I have no opposition to having him in there. But I do think that that he will go for Soumaré, and I've just got a feeling, and I enjoyed it. But I've just got a feeling that if Johnny Evans is fit, that he may put Johnny Evans back in, and I don't necessarily agree with that. Because, like you say, you've got this defence now that is building up an understanding. Has kept 3 clean sheets in a row. They are, like I say, equal third in the clean sheet table. So I don't want Johnny. I can see an argument for bringing him back, but what does it say to Amati?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is that I don't think Amati would be surprised, because it's happened to him so many times. He's not the type of player who will throw his toys out the pram, and again, I think that's another reason why we shouldn't give him as much stick. Him and probably Albrighton are the definitions of a squad player who will come in and do a job and not moan when they're not playing. So fair play to him. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I hope he doesn't bring him back.
I'm the same with you on that one. Very, very quickly, Mark Albrighton. He still has a future at Leicester, do you think, past January?
I think so. I don't know what his contract situation is. I think he likes it. I think he just enjoys being at the club. I can't see that anybody in the Premier League is going to come and get him, to be honest. So
no, I don't think it will be a Premier League club that would come in.
No, and that comes down to whether he's happy dropping down. You know, I would imagine he comes across as a pretty stable guy, a family man who wouldn't want to be travelling too far away anywhere. So, and there's no way he's going to go to Birmingham after being a Villa player. So I think his options are a little bit limited, shall we say.
I suppose it's that sort of, you stay at a Premier League club, and let's be honest with you, age isn't on his side anymore, and you play this bit part role, and you are vice captain. We know that means diddly squat, really. Or you can drop down a league.
I wonder, you know, Mark strikes me as the guy who would probably be doing his coaching badges, and which, you know, the part he's playing at the club at the minute probably helps him to do that. You know, I'm surmising, but he looks like somebody who would like to stay in the game after his playing days are finished.
And do you think as well, I mean, we don't want to end up a bit like we were when we were in the old, you know, pre LeiMci days, where I think at one point we'd signed all these big names. We'd got Gillespie, we'd got Ferdinand. We're almost like a Derby and Jones club, for ex-players. You don't want to end up like that, but do you think? I mean, some players must look at it and go. And we talked about what, you know, LeiMci's done for the club, and we can't add anything because of, you know, onto the praise that we've already given him. But aren't there some people that look at this and go, with what he's created, with what Top's go, you know, carrying on, I'm happy here. I'm actually
exactly.
Happy. I'm treated like a human being.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for that, especially when you're getting on in your career. You've either got that real desire that you just want to play, or you have to accept that you're at a really good club who's going to look after you. And I think and that seems to be what Mark feels at the moment.
Yes, I think there has got to be some of that. It's going to be a very poignant game. I think there'll be a few white scarves. About it will be a great atmosphere. You will be there. Enjoy yourself.
Well, indeed. Thank you.
Soak up the atmosphere. I'm sure on the 60th minute it will go crazy, as it always does. Always brings a lump to my throat when that happens. But thank you as always, sir.
You're welcome, and thanks to you, Chris. I know you've had a tough couple of days, but it's great to see you in front of the camera and your old self. And long may that continue, mate.
You smooth talking devil, you. Thank you very much. It means a lot, mate. Cheers for that. Enjoy the game as always. You and your family stay safe.
Cheers, mate. And I'll catch you soon.
We'll get some quizzes going once the World Cup starts.
Excellent. Cool.
Brilliant. Take care, buddy. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers, Chris. Bye, everyone.
Cheers. Thanks to Craig there. As I always say, my wise old owl. Thank you very much indeed. And do something for me, if you would be so kind. Do what the ex-Foxes say.
Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Indeed. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching, for lending me your eyes. Thank you very much for lending me your ears if you have been listening on podcast. All the guys' details are below, both for Craig and for Bernard as well, the Man City fan. Thank you to him for coming on, and thank you to the Man City fans that have popped in as well. And thank you to everybody that's passed on their respects for Coombe Chai. Really do. It does mean a lot to us as fans. Like I say, if you've been listening on podcast, you can have your ears back now. Thank you for listening. I hope you like the new look. It's a little bit, just a little bit tidy, a little bit neater. I'm going to be back twice tomorrow. Once on my I'm going to be back once tomorrow at 9 o'clock for the question and answer show, question time. We start the first question, then we will go wherever you take us. Get in the chat, ask your questions, and we will do our best. Well, we'll get them included as long as they're obviously clean and legal. Then I'm back twice on Saturday, 12 o'clock. We're doing the watch along for the Man City game, when I will be joined by Doug. And then at about 7:15, we'll be nipping over to Doug's channel, where they will be playing Leeds. One job, Doug. You cocked it up against Forest. You can do it against Leeds for us. Otherwise, I'm never talking to you again. Thanks very much, everybody. Great to be here. I will speak to you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Take care, stay safe, and look after yourselves. Goodbye.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over.